And at the same time, I'm really proud of the way we played. Congratulations to Club America, fantastic opponent. That said, I felt like we played a really good game ourselves, and until the last 20 minutes, I thought we had good control of that game.
John Hackworth speaking to the media. That was St. Louis City interim head coach John Hackworth speaking to the media after the disappointing City loss in the round of 16 in the League's Cup 4-2 to Club America on Tuesday evening, a game that they led 2-1 into the second half before Club America turned it around with goals in the 79th, 86th minutes, and then in the 8th minute of added time, a cherry on top at the end of the game. It had seemed that City had turned it around after they trailed 1-0 at half. Indiana Vasilev scored off the bench in the 49th minute. Edward Leuven added one of two penalties on the night. Club America had the other in what turned out to be the game-winning goal from Brian Rodriguez, but City ultimately fell 4-2. So they will be out of commission for the next 9 days before MLS resumes with City in Portland a week from Saturday, August the 24th. That'll be a 9:30 Central Time kickoff with our coverage starting at 9 on our sister station Y98. And with that, we welcome you into the St. Louis City Soccer Report. Nate Gatter and Jen Cease. A very busy show across a number of fronts because a lot has been happening for City, both in terms of roster activity the last couple of weeks. Obviously, there were some bright spots, but also some disappointments, as Hackworth alluded to in that clip from the Leagues Cup showing. So sort of positives and negatives there. We had as well the Josh Sargent links that sort of came out of nowhere today before the MLS transfer deadline.
Right. Tim Reams moved over, we know.
So we'll talk about that. The SLU women kickoff tonight, as do essentially all Division I women's soccer programs across the country kick off this evening. The SLU men will be getting rolling, in the next couple of days. They'll be starting with it. Well, they have an exhibition tomorrow. Their regular season opener will be a week from tomorrow against Indiana here at Hermann Stadium, which should be a real event. We'll talk to Kevin Kalish, the SLU men's coach, in the second hour. Then the national teams both have news. The U.S. women, of course, won the gold medal, which should be the headliner.
Did I call it? Brazil.
Yes,
you played
did.
Brazil.
I doubted you on that. The U.S. women won the gold, and so that should be story number one. And it still is in many ways, and we'll talk to Lori Chalupny about it, former U.S. women's national teamer and St. Louisan, still St. Louisan, and head coach of the women's team at Maryville. And then the U.S. men said, we're going to go ahead and try to stir the pot a little bit ourselves, and reportedly hired Maurizio Pochettino, former Tottenham, former PSG coach, as their new head coach, certainly the biggest name to have ever coached the U.S. men's national team, and a very exciting hire for them now inside 2 years until the World Cup kicks off on home soil for the first time in 3 decades. So nothing really to talk about.
Nothing to talk about. And I'm not that, he was St. Louis City, but Nico Gioacchini now going, I believe, is that confirmed to FC Cincinnati?
I don't know if it's been announced. I think it has been confirmed now by FC Cincinnati, but reportedly he's going on a straight loan from Como, which is sort of a surprising move. I imagine disappointing for him, given his ambition that we knew about to go back to Europe. That it so quickly, I don't want to say it unraveled, because he made some appearances, but he didn't really get a foothold for them, and not a great sign to then be loaned out at his age. Now with Como having been promoted back to Serie A as well, I think that communicates maybe a certain level of concern about his level. And to be right back in MLS, I imagine for him feels a little bit like he's back where he started. From a City standpoint, if ultimately he ends up back in MLS full time, I would imagine there would be mutual interest in a remarriage, if you will, of those parties, because of the fact that Gioacchini has popped up around the club a couple of times. He's been at games.
Cincinnati's no joke of a team, right? So they're consistently a tough team. They're consistently at the top of the entire league. So that it can't be Nico can't be short of having things that they need to have them pull him in at this point in time. When frankly they're doing really well.
So it seems like they're that was an amicable split in the end. I think Nico got what he wanted. The club got what they wanted. And that's what I was going to say. If in the worst case scenario, if this becomes a failed move for him to Como and he's bouncing around on loans and then he gets transferred back to some other MLS team or elsewhere to a lower level league and he's not able to realize that ambition that he had of, at the very least, becoming a significant sustained contributor for a top flight team in Europe. And I think when he was at his most ambitious, he would say he wanted to play Champions League football. So he wanted to play for a top 4 or 5 type of team in a top 5, 6, 7 type of league in Europe, which is a big ambition. And you can understand why he shares it. And we applaud that ambition, but it's a long way from where he was at the time.
Yeah.
If that never happens, City gets to say they got $4 million out of a guy they picked up in the expansion draft. And I think no matter what happens from here, that $4 million is already looking pretty good as a price tag. And in some world, and I'm not rooting for this to happen necessarily, because obviously you hope that he's able to realize his career ambitions and find a foothold in Europe. In the worst case scenario for him, where a year from now or 2 years from now or 3 years from now, he's coming back to MLS on a true transfer. I think City probably would not have to pay $4 million. Let's put it that way.
But he would, have to fight for some time with Cedric Toshert now.
Yeah, I don't know that's the thing is right now. I saw some people saying, how did we let this happen? I don't know that there are minutes for him right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to see. And even with St. Louis City, you could see it. It's coming along. I never felt, I was so excited for the game watching it. I was in the Y98 studio, myself and Kyle Sixta, who runs the control for us a lot. We're up and down. I can't tell you how many highlights we cut from that game. But I'll tell you what, even with a lead, I worried at the ability for St. Louis City to hold onto the game, given the disparities yet with, as much as Club America, sometimes I don't love the demonstrativeness of maybe the goalkeeper, maybe the players when they go down. You can't deny their ability on the ball, their ability off the ball. It was like, the game, you ever played the game Cat's Cradle? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's what it felt like the entire time with their movement. They were just pulling City apart to poke a hole through. And it was so well done. It's just another level that I think MLS as a whole, although there are MLS teams going through to the quarterfinals, and St. Louis City being a second-year club, have to work toward.
Yeah, it's interesting because the MLS teams still involved. MLS in general has done better in the Leagues Cup this year than they generally do in competitions against Mexican teams. At the same time, I think you still can tell in games like that, even in half hours, like the last half hour on Tuesday, that not only do they have maybe more quality, what they really have is more depth. That they don't have, their salary cap is so much less restrictive, and so they can distribute the dollars more evenly through the roster. And so where they find their advantage is not the top 3, top 5. It's what is 5 through 15 on their roster look like.
And just them subbing on when they were subbing, here's these new people. It's not like we're going far down. It's like, okay, our first guys are tired. Here's another set of first guys.
They don't have some 20-something-year-old guy making $70,000 a year who's coming on in the second half.
Dale even went over it in the pregame. We could ask him about it if he still has them by himself, but the disparity in the money that's allowed and also the number of caps for their national teams is just so much further along.
And then when it comes time to, and this isn't, professionalism is used in 2 different ways here. Professionalism is in one way meaning like, do you show up on time? Do you act proper? All those things. I'm not saying any MLS teams, let alone City, struggle with that. What I mean by professionalism in this context is your experience and the professional approach to how you see out a game. I think that's when you really can see it, is second half. Even in MLS, we wonder sometimes, can City protect the lead with how they play? It can get a little helter-skelter.
Yep.
And are they able to not sit on a lead necessarily, but can they manage a game? And I think the experience and the professionalism that you see from those Mexican teams relative to City, just the ability to manage a game, they can manipulate the game based on the stage of the game, the score, and their position.
And they're not taking low percentage shots ever. They never do. And I was watching, it was like, it's not there. Here we go. We're going to recycle. We're going to go back around. We're going to look for the other side. We're going to look for a better option. It was very rare to see Club America take a shot where you're like, that's right into a defender. That's not really going to make it. It's just a disciplined team with a ton of technical and tactical ability.
We will talk to Dale Schilly when we come back about that Club America loss on Tuesday and what he's looking for out of City's remaining games in the MLS regular season. We're down to just 13 to go. The season is winding down.
That's crazy.
Or is it 9 to go?
Is it 9? I can count. I'll count in the break.
One way or the other. Where games are running short for City.
And even fewer at City Park.
Second bottom in the Western Conference and trying to find some kind of miracle to play themselves back into the edge of the playoff conversation. And we will hear from Dale on that coming up next. St. Louis City Soccer Report continues after this on KMOX.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
It's the story of two high school friends who both were interested in real estate and built some multi-million-dollar real estate businesses. How did they do it? Well, we'll find out on the next Business of Family Business. I'm Debbie Monterey. My co-host is Kevin Short of Clayton Capital Partners, and we'll be talking to Jim Manning and Ryan Wessels of 3 Doors. Everything you need to know about diversifying into real estate. Saturday at 2 on KMOX. It's the Business of Family Business.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been hurt on the job, you need the best, Onder Law. Hurt on the job? Call Onder Law today for a free review at 314 or 618-900.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. While we celebrate the reversal of Roe versus Wade, there is still much work to be done to support life and pregnant women before they cross state lines. Together, we can provide the love, support, and options that women need to choose life for their children. Coalition Life celebrates more than 3,500 clients served and thousands of lives saved since we began this mission with you. Each one is a miracle. Over the years, day in and day out, our team has walked alongside women facing the fear and challenges of an unexpected pregnancy. Through the support of this community, we have given them hope and a path to choose life for the children they carry. Visit coalitionlife.com to give your vital support while reducing or completely eliminating your state taxes through Missouri's 70% tax credit. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Don't be impressed when you hear someone settle their case for what may seem like lots of money. $500,000 seems like lots of money until you learn they lost both legs, had a brain injury, or were paralyzed and can never work again. All law firms are not the same. To see what your case may be worth, go to forthepeople.com and look at our verdicts and settlements for cases just like yours. Look before you leave. Hire the right lawyer. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's Tom Ackerman for Innsbruck. Just the beautiful homes in Innsbruck. The new Sonnenhaus houses are available this year. The newest style of living, combining the modern exterior of a treehouse with cozy interior elements of a cottage into one convenient and comfortable residence that can transition from a vacation home to a permanent residence. And it's so close to St. Louis, just a half hour from Chesterfield, an hour from downtown. Innsbruck-resort.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The Y98 St. Louis City Soccer Report continues on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Dale Schilly is with us now to discuss the St. Louis City action in the Leagues Cup against Club America, a 4-2 loss on Tuesday. And before we chat with Dale, Jen, let's just, you were mentioning the experience that you and Kyle Sixta, who engineers
we were busy,
most of the City
Nate.
games.
We were very busy that night.
on Y98 and quite a few of our shows here as well. It was, I think, and Matt Pauley mentioned it during Sports Open Line as well at the tail end of the show. I think for the neutral viewer or maybe the City enjoyer who's not necessarily a diehard, and maybe even if you were, if you can look past the disappointment of the result, that was among the more entertaining and sort of big time feeling games that City have had in a while.
Oh, for sure. Sure. Especially when you're doing it on an international level. As much as some of the, I won't lie, I don't love all the antics of the supporter section. I didn't mind the fireworks or whatever the smoke bombs they had. It was fun, but I didn't really love throwing trash. I never do. I didn't really love also, apparently lasers, laser pens. Is that what it is?
Laser pointers,
I'm not for that. I don't like that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen anywhere else, but I think that you have to crack down on stuff like that. But the energy of that supporters group is for sure fun. And I bet who can really talk about it is Dale Schilly. Do we have him?
Yes, we do.
Yay.
And before we go to him, let's hear what John Hackworth had to say about that Tuesday night game.
We're so close to being a team that is capable of beating the team, the quality of Club America. But at the same time, we still have lessons to learn. And if you just think about a game like this, you have to finish it out. And that's where we let ourselves down tonight.
Yeah, and that's where you could see it. So even when it came from, and I'm not picking on Nukvi, but when it comes for, being basically on the 6 to finish or things like that, you have to finish at those moments. And
I think he had something like a 0.8 expected goals on that, which is, that's almost penalty
that was a tough
level range. It's how it went. Dale, I mean, you were there. You got to experience it in the the atmosphere and also the drama on the field in person. What are your takeaways, both in terms of the result and the disappointment of that, but also just sort of the spectacle that game was?
Yeah, I think let's start with the spectacle. It's just an atmosphere that you can't find in too many places against too many teams. And I just kept thinking to myself, if 12,000 people, I don't know how many people were there, but let's say there was 12,000 people. If 12,000 people can support a team that way, what would it be like at Azteca or someplace down in Mexico with 120,000 people? I can't even imagine what that atmosphere would be like. I mean, they throwing stuff in the field and rambunctious, but look, their pride was hurt. They were down 2-1 in the 75th minute or 78th minute, whatever that was. And, they were concerned they were getting knocked out of a tournament against a team that they had beaten 4-0 a year ago. So there was a lot of emotion in that moment.
And let's be honest too. I mean, especially after the goals, as players are wont to do, the City guys were maybe egging them on a little bit too.
Sure. Yeah. And it goes both ways. And actually I was thinking about it. I was watching the Seattle game against Pumas. Seattle wins 4-0. And there were a couple of scuffles. And I was just thinking to myself, if the game turned into a street fight versus Club America, did we have guys that would stand up and go toe to toe against some of their players? And I thought that, if we were looking at how guys stood up when the game turned into a battle and Club America turned it into not a street fight, but it got tougher. The game got harder and faster and more meaningful as the minutes went on with us with the 2-1 lead. And then, 2-2, even 3-2, it was a fight. I thought our guys, took a step forward and made a bigger commitment for each other and went toe to toe with them. So I thought kudos to our guys for the way that they battled.
Dale, one of your 3 questions that, I love before the pregame, about 5-7 minutes before the game actually kicks off, is one of them you talked about, can City weather the storm for the 20 minutes and get the first 20 minutes, get used to the speed of play on this highly technical, skilled team. They know how to move the ball, of course. And it did seem like they did what seemed to be like in that when we went up, It was, you could just, to me, watching on TV, it just felt like this tidal wave of, smashing up against the rocks. Like Club America was like, yeah, we're coming for you now. You're up by 1, but you just felt the onslaught. It was more like the last 20 minutes was a problem than the first 20.
Yeah, it was interesting because I thought the first 15 minutes or so, I thought we dictated the pace of it. I think we surprised them by pressing higher in their organized build-up, forced them to make a couple of turnovers, uncharacteristic turnovers. And I think the guys did a good job of forcing the issue a little bit. We adjusted to the pace of it. We're rewarded for our work. I thought the last 15 minutes of the first half, we were good. Obviously I thought we were very good. The first 15 minutes of the second half, we were very good. But then, it's something that our guys just haven't seen a lot of. And that's when a highly skilled team of highly paid players, when they get emotional and they can notch it up a little bit higher, we just weren't up to the speed of that. And it's not anybody's fault. It's the fact that we haven't seen that before, because they were going to throw everything at us but the kitchen sink, and they were not going to go away without, putting everything forward to score a goal. They changed systems at least 3 times, maybe 4 times, to continue to try to put more numbers forward and really force the issue. And I said kind of jokingly with Tom Ackerman on the radio yesterday morning, I think it was, I said we needed a timeout. We needed something. We needed a break. We needed the ball out of bounds. We needed it in the stands. We needed an injury. We needed something to stop the game just so we could collect our thoughts and get ourselves reset and reorganized, because things were so happening so fast. We couldn't catch up to it in that and just weather that few more minutes there in the second half when they were flying.
And I know that this is just a highlight, but what a highlight it could have been to see Roman Berkey go forward for the last corner kick and actually have him practically on the ball. I'm like, oh my gosh, what would that have been like to have Roman score? And he almost stopped that goal that really is just an open kind of, like in hockey, it's like an open net, right? He almost got it.
Yeah, he almost got on it. What about the save that Malaga made on Lubin's header in those final minutes? The final injury time. I mean, look, the guys played well. It was something that we hadn't seen. The speed of it, the chaos that we were having to deal with because of the numbers that they threw forward. I'm sure there's a lesson in it in terms of how to manage those moments. Maybe you have to take fake an injury. Maybe you have to stand in front of a ball and take a card. Maybe somebody throws an extra ball on the field. Who knows? Something's got to happen.
I was going to say, Dale, I feel like you could have done something about this. This feels like paper airplane from the booth kind of time for me.
You go. I think,
make a play,
I think
man.
We're going to test Joey's airplane making skills. That's what we'll do.
He's run the stands before. He could do it. He could do it for sure.
That's
Of course, in the last couple of days, or maybe it's just been 24 hours, more moves are making, right? We're from Anthony Marcanic going to, help me out, I just lost
to Minnesota
Thank
United.
you. Thank you. My brain farted on that. Just seems like Lutz Pfannenstiel has more up his sleeve than we thought. He wasn't done.
Well, hey, look, I think the Anthony Marcanic thing, the writing was on the wall with the way that Jaden Reed has come on and performed well, and actually what he brings to the game in terms of his athleticism. And then Giannis Horn, I don't know if he's going to be a left back or left center back or how that plays out. I'm assuming the way Hebert's playing that
Kyle
maybe
did
we
well.
see Horn as a left back.
Yeah, Kyle did well, I thought.
Yeah, no, Kyle's done well. He's hardly putting a foot wrong. It's hard when you're watching him against the quality and the athleticism of a Club America. How do you assess what he can't get to compared to a more athletic center back that can get to some things, but what he gets to, he does well with. So you know what you're going to get from him when he's involved in a moment. So that's a positive. So getting back to Marcanic, I think it's a good thing for him to get out. He's basically a third right now. So for him, that's not a good situation. So we can get to a team where he's the number 2 left back. It's better for his career.
Dale, real quick, just to kind of tie a bow on this MLS transfer window, I think a lot of folks, we had this conversation as far back as last summer when City were in a very different position than they are now.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly we had it then over the winter when Lutz Van Schilly, I think, started to show his teeth a little bit as far as the adjustments he was willing to make to the roster. I wouldn't call this summer an adjustment, especially as far as in-season moves go. I feel like this was as close to an overhaul as you can get mid-season. Yeah. And it feels to me, and you could feel free to disagree with this, it feels to me like that's obviously he's being intentional with everything that he's doing, and it's all for a reason of making the team better. He's not making moves just to make them, but it also does feel like there's a little bit of a message being sent because he's clearly saying nobody is in this or is protected. Nobody's off limits if even the likes of Tim Parker is getting jettisoned off.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the message is sent. There's, it's very clear that the object here is to compete to make the playoffs and to be able to go somewhere in that. So yeah, clear message. And I agree with you. I think very intentional in terms of picking up players and look, it's going to be competitive now. We're still lacking a little bit of depth, I think, that we would like, but part of that is just the injuries that we've had to weather here over the course of the year. But I think we're set up as well as we can be to go into these last handful of games in the league season.
Dale, we appreciate you as always. We look forward to chatting again. Next show, actually, I hadn't mentioned this. Next show is going to be on Monday. Dale,
can you do 8:15 on Monday?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So we'll talk to you in just a few days, and we'll probably revisit some of those topics and some others as well, because, of course, there won't be a City game between now and then, but not a long wait, especially as compared to last year from the end of the Leagues Cup to the resumption of the season, just a little over a week now to go. Dale,
we need these few days here for the guys. Some of the guys look tired. They need a few days here. It's not a bad thing.
Basically just a bye week, one week off, no extended break like it was last year. So definitely that is welcome. Dale, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Dale Schilly with us, and when City do return to MLS play, you can hear him on our sister station Y98 on every game with Joey Zanaboni at our own Gen C's. The next one will be 9 o'clock pregame, 9:30 kickoff a week from Saturday, the 24th of this month, when City travel to Portland. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll talk a little bit more about the end of the MLS transfer window. Anthony Marcanic traded to Minnesota United, and a couple of non-City moves. Tim Ream, the St. Louisan, leaving Fulham after a decade in England to come back to MLS with Charlotte FC, and then sort of City adjacent, City rumored, even if the move didn't happen, and not sure it was really that close, but some reports linking Josh Sargent, the St. Louisan, over with Norwich City.
Hopes, maybe not reports.
There were reports in the from The Athletic that City even submitted a bid for Josh Sargent. So we'll talk about that when we come back. The St. Louis City Soccer Report continues next on KMOX.
What's happening in the world of politics? Find out from the guys who know the game best, Hancock and Kelly.
I love getting to spend time talking politics and life in St. Louis with my pal John Hancock, one of the most politically misguided people I know.
Well, we may disagree about a few things, but it'll be good radio.
Find out what's happening in the world of politics and everything else with Hancock and Kelly.
We like spending time with all of you right here on KMOX.
Friday mornings beginning at 8:30.
No doubt about it.
Only on KMOX.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitchman that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
At 1-800-GOT-JUNK, we believe.
We believe in repurposing the junk we make disappear.
We donate the donatables so that a new family could love them.
those items get a new life.
We believe in recycling the recyclables.
Raw material for brand new products.
And we believe in returning natural resources to the earth. And we believe in you.
We know you want to make a difference.
Let us help you do that.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
When it comes to retirement, you don't need to worry or sweat the small stuff if you have Sachs Financial on your side. Sachs Financial, home of the Retirement Compensation Plan. SACHS, Sachs Financial, because income is the outcome that matters. RetireSafeSTL.com.
Broadcasting from the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Dell's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
The cookie cutter approach works well if you're making cookies, but not so well when you're trying to plan for retirement. If you want a customized income strategy, call Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group today. 636-230-8824. Or go to YourMoneyMattersSTL.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No pain, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Navien tankless water heaters, the proven leader in condensing technology. Request a Navien because you deserve the best in endless hot water delivery. Learn about Navien's condensing tankless water heaters and find a Navien contractor at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Count on Navien.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
For everything St. Louis Cardinals, it's Cardinals Conversations. Use the Odyssey app or hear it on your favorite podcast platform. From game analysis, player and management interviews, it's exclusive Cardinals content from KMOX Sports, where the Redbird talk never stops.
The St. Louis City Soccer Report continues on this Thursday evening. Nate Gander, Jen Cease with you. We just heard from Dale Schilly discussing City's 4-2 loss on Tuesday to Club America that knocked them out of the Leagues Cup at the round of 16. And Anthony Marcanic's trade to Minnesota United today in exchange for $50,000 in general allocation money. We also mentioned, but did not dive into, the links reported by The Athletic in the last 24 hours that Josh Sargent was the subject of transfer interest from St. Louis City before the MLS transfer deadline yesterday. Reportedly, that interest for Sargent, who's now in his third season in England with Norwich City, for whom he has appeared in the Premier League and now in the Championship, where he scored 16 goals last year, was even the subject of a bid, a formal transfer bid submitted by St. Louis City. Norwich paid roughly $10 million for him in 2021. They got him from Werder Bremen in Germany. And it was a little more than $10 million because it was reported in English pounds. And reportedly, they want 20 million pounds, which would be a little over $25 million for him if they were going to let him go this summer, which is a crazy number. That's dramatically more than City pay out for their entire roster on an annual basis. City's reported bid for Sargent fell unsurprisingly short of that number, according to The Athletic.
You got to shoot your shot.
But see, but I So The Athletic obviously is a quite reputable publication, including when it comes to MLS, though Tom Bogert did recently leave, and he has been their primary MLS insider, and so this did not come from him.
Were you suspicious right away?
I am skeptical, I think, that City submitted any formal bid that would have even approached a reasonable number, because this is not like FIFA where City was like, hey, we'll give you $500,000 for him. You know, like that's the kind of thing that burns bridges when you submit some nonsense bid. So they would have known there's absolutely no chance that Norwich would take less than some kind of profit. The absolute lowest bid you could submit without getting laughed out of the room would probably be somewhere in the $13 to $15 million range. That would be a marginal profit, especially after accounting for the inflation the last 3 years, a marginal profit on a player who's been quite productive for Norwich when he's been healthy at a level at least equivalent to, and I would say appreciably higher than MLS, the top levels of the championship, and he's played for them in the Premier League. There's no way they would sell him for anything under $15 million. And chances are it would have to be higher, but that would be probably the lowest bid you could possibly submit without feeling like a fool. And I don't see how City could have possibly, knowing what we know about St. Louis City, do you really think it's possible they submitted an offer of north of $15 million for one player?
So as you know, I don't claim to be an expert on GAM and TAM and all that. Does
well, this would be
MLS
outside of that scope.
Would being an MLS team give the ability for any club? I mean, we've got Messi in MLS to have a Josh Sargent.
Yes. So
Okay.
the nature of the DP system is that you can spend any amount of money on your designated players, which is salary and also your transfer fee. That's why Joao Klaus was a designated player when he first came to City, even though his salary doesn't necessarily put him above the TAM threshold. And really, everybody City have in terms of the original core guys, Klaus, Berkey, Leuven, would all be the types that you can buy down with TAM money because their salaries are not that high relative to other DPs. It was the transfer fees that they paid on top of those that have to be counted.
So if it wasn't a Josh Sargent, I would say no. But because it's Josh Sargent and a homegrown player, it makes me wonder if Lutz and the staff might consider something like that to, talk about getting in the City's good graces. That would feel really great.
City's entire roster. Now, this is according to MLSPA salary data for the 2024 season. So it's out of date in the sense that these numbers include the likes of Tim Parker and Anthony Marcanic and Samuel Adeniran and those, departed City players. But they also don't include the likes of Cedric Toyshirt and Marcel Hartel, who presumably are making pretty significant salaries in their own right. But the number was for the entire team for this year was a little over $10.2 million. That was the salary for the entire St. Louis City roster. I imagine it's a little higher now. You took the $1 million out for Tim Parker, but the other guys who have left were at the very low end of the salary scale, so maybe $1.2 million out of their total. And I would imagine Toyshirt and Hartel combined, let alone Girdwood Reich and Jaden Reed is probably on the minimum, but I would imagine they've added to that pretty significantly, but my guess still they're going to be somewhere in the 12 million range, probably at the most 11 to 12 million, somewhere in there. You really think they're bidding more than they're spending annually on salaries? And then Josh Sargent is going to need a multi-million-dollar salary. So I don't know if I see that, but we're going to find out, I guess, in the coming years, if this is interest that sticks around into the winter, into next summer, in trying to attract a guy who is really going into the prime of his career to come home early to MLS, as some players have. Supposedly Weston McKennie, who's really in the prime of his career, has interest in coming back to MLS. In some cases, for guys, there can be more money available here than in Europe, depending on the type of player and what the interest is out there. But I'm just not sure I see it making sense for Sargent, and I'm not really sure I see St. Louis City doing that. But you never know. Lutz has surprised us before. We'll take a break. Laws of the Game with George Gansner coming up next on KMOX.
When you face storms, if you have Rhino Shield, you don't much have to worry about the side of your house. Number one, it's waterproof. So whatever rain hits it is going to just bounce off. You don't have to worry about that. When we had that hail recently, the homes with vinyl siding got crushed. I mean, holes punched in the side of it. And the ones with Rhino Shield, it pretty much just bounced off. And my friend Darren has the pictures to prove that. So you've got a product that's 8 to 10 times thicker than regular paint. It hardens like a ceramic shield. It protects whatever's on the outside of your home, and you get a 25-year warranty. 25 years. You don't have to worry about going outside in the heat and scraping and painting or paying somebody else to do it every 4 or 5 years. You're fixed. You're covered. You get that warranty. You can transfer it to the next owner as well. Call Darren today. Let him give you a free evaluation on this beautiful product on your home. 877-25-RHINO or online at 877-25rhino.com.
The pitch. Do you dream about calling Cardinals games?
Bill Schmidt swings, and he hits.
If so, the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum is for you. Learn about play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, and working with pro athletes for the best broadcasters in the business. John Rooney, Chip Carey, Rick Horton, Brad Thompson, and more. The Sportscasters Forum is Thursday, September 19th at Live by Lowe's. Tickets include 3 educational sessions, lunch, and a ticket to that evening's Cardinals game. For details, go to MissouriBroadcasters.org.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
What better way to support your nutrition than with the multivitamin that was created right here in St. Louis? Neovitin Original Multivitamin was created by St. Louis physician Dr. Abicki to support his own nutrition when he needed it most. Now, Neovitin Original Multivitamin is formulated with sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and Dr. Abicki's proprietary blend to give you nutritional support you won't find anywhere else. Neovitin is now conveniently available through our no-obligation monthly subscription. Cancel or pause at any time, and shipping is free. Support your nutrition with a subscription to Neovitin at neovitin.com today.
Life can throw curveballs our way, just like the sudden car accident that put me in a coma 30 years ago, long before I became the Cardinal Cowboy. And just like recovering from bumps in the road, we all need reliable help when things go wrong. At Renner Garage, they understand unexpected setbacks. Whether it's a repair, a new door, or a LiftMaster opener, Renner has the team of trusted experts who know how to lift you up and get you back on track. You know the name, RENNER, forward and back, RennerDoorSTL.com. Giddy up.
Are you tired of those unwanted, stubborn areas of fat? Do you want to lose up to 2 inches of that fat quickly and safely? Hi, this is Dr. Michael Glickert at St. Louis Weight Loss Secret, and we offer the latest breakthrough treatment in fat reduction without surgery through our incredible Lumara body contouring program that gently melts fat naturally, eliminating it from your body. If you want to lose inches on your thighs, arms, waist, stomach, or back, take advantage of our limited time offer of just $69 for your first treatment, which is valued at $300. You heard that right, just $69 for your first treatment. Visit us online at moweightloss.com.
Hey, this is Debbie Monterey, and I admit I was skeptical about body contouring at St. Louis Weight Loss Secret, but I figured, what do I have to lose except apparently inches, because they already helped me lose 40 pounds, and then they took before and after pictures while I was doing body contouring. I did 8 treatments, and you could totally see the difference. So take advantage of this limited time offer, just $69 for your first body contouring treatment, regularly $300, by calling 314-207-8600 or online at moweightloss.com.
We can get more sleep, we can get more sun, and we can get more exercise. But the one thing that we can't get more of is time. It's time to eliminate the one phrase that could be holding you back from reaching your retirement goals. I'll take care of it tomorrow. It's time to pick up the phone and make the call to Gary Goldberg and the team at Financial and Tax Strategies. 618-361-4232 or online at checkwithgary.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Centaurus Financial Inc., an SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Gary Goldberg, NPN number 918615.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Don't miss out on the following concerts. Blues Traveler, St. Louis Music Park, September 20th. Celebration Day, St. Louis Music Park, September 27th. Billy Joel and Sting. Busch Stadium, September 27th. Seether and Skillet, St. Louis Music Park, October 3rd.
For tickets and info, here at livenation.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You entrusted a nursing home with the care of a loved one, but they violated that trust. If your family member has been the victim of nursing home neglect, call Onder Law at 844-BED-SORE.
I'm Maria Kina. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Now, laws of the game.
George Gansner, former MLS and FIFA assistant referee, joins us on the St. Louis City Soccer Report to finish out the first hour. Nate Gatter, Jen Cease back with you. George, let's start with something we haven't really talked about. Ordinarily, this would have dominated the first hour of the show. The U.S. women's national team winning gold at the Olympics, back on top in the first major tournament under Emma Hayes. But because of all the city news, we have been slow to get to it, and we'll discuss it in the second hour, especially when we visit with Lori Chalupny. I was watching it with a bunch of people who are knowledgeable soccer fans, and I think 100% of the room thought Mallory Swanson was offside when she scored what turned out to be the only goal of the game in a 1-0 U.S. victory over Brazil. When we saw it on the replay then, it actually wasn't all that close, but well done by the assistant referee to see it all the way, allow the play to go on, and never even allow the play to go on, never put her flag up. She had it right all the way.
She did an amazing job to keep the flag down there, right? And that's what we're trained now as assistant referees. But Mallory Swanson wasn't actually the bigger problem. The bigger problem was the teammate. I can't remember who it was right now. Sophia Smith, who was clearly in an offside position, right? Runs toward the ball after it's played through, but never touches the ball. She never plays the ball, and she never interferes with any defenders, and never interferes with play. Right?
Do you know, George, the whole time there was like an Instagram reel running of Abby Wambach watching, and the entire time you can hear her saying, leave it, leave it, leave it. In other words, Sophia Smith, don't touch it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because if she plays the ball or interferes with one of the defenders, it's offside and that goal's coming back. But she does not, and she turns and she runs away, and that leaves Mallory Swanson then to go in free on goal.
So Dale Schilly, so great, so awesome. So U.S. women, although I got to say that if you look to the first 20 minutes or so, I was reviewing the game today actually with our youngest Harper, whose coach is requiring them was like an assignment to make sure that they are 8 years old, and watching that game was awesome. So we were looking at a few of the decisions shown on VAR, at least they would show us on TV, and man, there were a few times when Brazil was just offside by like a shoulder, really saving the U.S. women in the first 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, so I didn't see that part of the game. I heard about it, and I still, from a VAR perspective, I don't particularly like that. I think you make the decision on the field, and unless it's really a bad decision, that you have to let it go. But that's not how it is today. So fine. VAR saved the U.S. women, but it was a really good final in the end.
George, we were talking to Dale Schilly earlier and talking about the atmosphere that Club America fans were able to create. Obviously, it's a little bit rowdy, but it's also it's really enthusiastic. And that was, obviously played in the U.S. in Southern California. And he said, I was amazed by the atmosphere, however many thousand of them were able to create in a country that's not their native one, and yet it makes you immediately think of, as amazing as this atmosphere is, what would it be like at the Azteca for a big game if it's full or even close to full? You've experienced some of those atmospheres in Latin America, including in Mexico, including at the Azteca, if I'm not mistaken, for what it's like when you get big crowds and they're really going crazy and affecting a game. What is that like down on the field?
Yeah, it really makes an impact, right? You can see it in the players. The opposing teams are trying to keep it out of their mind and really focus on what they have and what their intentions are on the field. It's a big lift. The spectators are a big lift for the team that they're supporting. Mentally, the away teams, if you can shift your mindset into they're supporting us, that's a great thing, but that doesn't generally happen. Estadio Azteca, I happen to be in Monterrey, Mexico right now, the old Rayado Stadium. I've been in that with 30,000 people, and that's what it held. Guadalajara, same thing. It's really terrific when you get that type of an atmosphere. And to be totally fair, St. Louis's stadium, City Park, is not that far off of those things. It just happens to be more people.
Is it ever fantastic for the referees, though?
They don't actually care. It's really great when you have that situation, when you have that type of an atmosphere. It just makes for more energy in the game, and that's really terrific.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's great for the referees before the game. The walkout, when everybody, speaking of the away team pretending the supporters are cheering for them, that's when you walk out with the teams. You get to pretend the whole stadium's going nuts for you, too.
There was an old Gatorade commercial, I think it was, where the ceiling was rocking in the U.S. men's locker room. I experienced that in Guatemala. It's
That's awesome.
That's awesome. So you only got like less than a minute, but real quick, handball, Thomas Totland, you're good with it.
100% handball. He nearly caught the ball. I don't know how in any world that's not a handball.
Well, people were mad because it apparently kind of went maybe his foot or leg to arm or something, and then before that hasn't been. So that's all I saw on socials.
Yeah, but this is a CONCACAF match. This is not an MLS match. So look, it's 100% handball for me. He nearly caught the ball. I don't know why he doesn't move his arm. And it is what it is. I mean,
George, we appreciate you as always. Jen kind of threw you a grenade there with us running out of time. You handled it beautifully as always, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, you both.
George Gansner, former MLS and FIFA assistant referee, with us to close out the first hour. We appreciate him and Dale Schilly being with us. Don't go away, though, because after the news, SLU men's coach Kevin Kalish will join us. They have their final exhibition tomorrow before they open up at Herman Stadium a week from tomorrow against the Indiana Hoosiers, the most decorated team in college soccer. We'll also talk to Lori Chalupny about the most decorated team in women's international soccer, the Americans. That's coming up after this. Second hour still to come on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Do you think vinyl windows are a good option for your home? Think again. This is Debbie Monterey, and I can tell you Renewal by Andersen replaces thousands of vinyl windows every year, and some of them are barely 5 years old. Renewal by Andersen's Acclaim windows are made with their exclusive Fibrex composite material. That is twice as strong as vinyl and much more beautiful. And those lifetime warranties that the other window companies offer, they sound nice. But what constitutes a lifetime exactly? Renewal by Andersen offers the nation's best warranty, and they've done the research to back that claim up. Renewal by Andersen's huge 1 month only sale is going on right now. And if you call by August 31st, you'll save $329 on every window and $729 on every patio door with 0% interest for 3 years. Call 314-720-9200, 314-720-9200. That's 314-720-9200.
Home values are sky high and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market is peaked, so if you're thinking about selling, it's time, except for two things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
For eligible individuals 18 and older only. Results vary. See website for details and important safety information.
How are your hearing aids sounding now?
A little tinny.
Okay, 2 seconds.
With Jabra Enhanced Select's premium package, better hearing doesn't happen in a doctor's office. It happens at home. All done remotely from initial testing to adjustments.
How are they sounding now?
Fantastic. So much better. You get the same advanced hearing aid technology and professional support you expect from a clinic at a fraction of the cost. And if you have any issues, we'll make adjustments 7 days a week, no charge. Oh, you people are wonderful. Our premium package includes hearing aids, 3 years of follow-up care, plus a 3-year warranty with loss and damage coverage, and a 100-day money-back guarantee. I hear better than I ever thought possible. Save $300 on Enhanced Select 500 hearing aids automatically at checkout. Just go to JabraEnhance.com/try. That's JABRA Enhance.com/try. JabraEnhance.com/try.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Several people are arrested in connection with the overdose death of actor Matthew Perry.
We charge 5 defendants in this matter.
U.S. Attorney Martina Estrada.
These defendants
took advantage of Mr. Perry's addiction issues to enrich themselves. They knew what they were doing was wrong, but they did it anyways.
DEA Administrator Ann Milgram says those arrested include doctors and a number of suspected drug dealers.
They falsely prescribed, sold, or injected the ketamine that caused Matthew Perry's tragic death.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
A reputed Peruvian gang leader suspected in nearly 24 killings in Peru has been arrested by U.S. immigration authorities in New York. They say Gianfranco Torres Navarro is being held at a federal detention facility near Buffalo pending an immigration hearing. Bermuda is bracing for Ernesto. The Category 1 hurricane is packing 90-mile-per-hour winds and expected to strengthen in less than 24 hours. CBS's Dave Malkoff is there.
Greetings from the south side of Bermuda, where it is already starting to rain here. Probably a combination of an unassociated storm, which was coming horizontally at us, and also Ernesto, the very, very outer bands.
President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris appear together in their first public event since she replaced him as the Democratic nominee. They've announced the lowering of 10 costly drugs under the Medicare program starting in 2026. The vice president telling the suburban Washington crowd,
"We believe deeply every senior in our nation should be able to live with security, stability, and dignity."
GOP presidential nominee Donald Trump holds a press conference blaming his Democratic challenger for inflation. He also tells reporters that he thinks he's entitled to personal attacks on his Democratic rival. This as the use of bulletproof glass is approved for use at future Trump appearances to protect the former president. CBS's Linda Kenyon with more.
It's part of a series of additional security measures not normally provided for presidential candidates. The Secret Service says these measures will allow the former president to continue outdoor rallies following the July assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Negotiations to reach a Gaza ceasefire deal resume tomorrow between mediators from the U.S., Qatar, and Egypt. Hamas officials were not present during the first day of discussions today. CBS's Rami Inocencio in Tel Aviv.
White House spokesperson John Kirby said talks were, quote, a promising start and centered on the implementation and the execution and not so much the framework or the basics of a deal. He also said both sides saw the text and did make amendments.
The average rate on a 30-year mortgage ticks up. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At 9:03, we have clouds and 90 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Maria Aquino. Our top story this hour, we do have storms moving through portions of the area right now. Florissant reporting a thunderstorm. In other news this evening, the St. Louis Police Department currently has 880 commissioned officers. The department is budgeted for 1,224. While that number of commissioned officers remains flat from early June, the number of total officers was slightly higher with 12. The St. Louis Police Association tells KMOX the number of 880 is pretty close to being correct. Chief Robert Tracy is optimistic, pointing to a new recruiting class starting next month.
We should have another academy class in September of this year. And I'm being told it might be approximately 30, give or take some numbers, depending on how many show up and or if anybody tries to go for another job or changes their mind.
Tracy says it will still take a while to see the number of officers in the city begin to truly rise. Ferguson police officer Travis Brown remains in a coma. However, his sister says there are some small signs of progress.
Christina Bailey posted an update on a GoFundMe page supporting Brown, who was violently knocked to the ground during a protest Friday night. Bailey says her brother has had several surgeries to reduce swelling and fluid on his brain, but he's shown small movements in his limbs and coughed 3 times. She also says Brown's brain activity showed encouraging results. She says the road to recovery will be long and challenging, but the family remains hopeful. So far, the GoFundMe page has raised more than half its $150,000 goal. Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
Backstoppers has already stepped in to help Officer Brown's family. Also today, Backstoppers named their new director to replace retiring Chief Ron Battelle. As retired St. Louis Police Lieutenant Colonel Larry O'Toole, he will take over at the end of the year. Chief Battelle said O'Toole's extensive experience and deep passion for first responders make him an ideal successor. Battelle says he is confident that his leadership will ensure a smooth transition. The Illinois Attorney General says child pornography is a growing problem and artificial intelligence makes it worse.
This has been gradually increasing year after year. In 2023,
the reports increased by 46%.
Kwame Raoul tells KMOX people are using AI to create entirely fake images or to superimpose a real child's face onto a fake body. Legislation signed by Governor Pritzker last week clarifies state law by prohibiting the use of artificial intelligence to create child pornography. A check of our forecast now. Storms have bubbled up in St. Louis County into northern Jefferson County. Now they're moving across the river into St. Clair and Monroe counties. So far, nothing is severe at this time. There are some storm watches posted until midnight for like Crawford and Reynolds County. Nothing for the immediate bi-state area, though. We are expecting showers and storms. They could go severe. These storms mainly between now and 3 a.m. with lows of 73 degrees. Tomorrow, a pop-up storm, 92. Decreasing humidity tomorrow night, 70 degrees. And the start of a nice weekend. Less humidity. Afternoon highs of 86 degrees under sunny skies. It's 79 in St. Peter's. Thunderstorms in 88 in Florissant. And downtown of the Arch, it's 90 degrees. I'm Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Y98 presents the St. Louis City Soccer Report on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Hour 2 of the St. Louis City Soccer Report on this Thursday evening. Nate Gatter, Jen Cease back with you, and it's time to shift gears to talk some college soccer. The women's game across the country getting underway this evening. The SLU women are in a 0-0 game with Kansas City. That game is almost at the hour mark, but is suspended due to lightning in the area with just over 32 minutes to go. And we will update you if we get any changes. The SLU men will wrap up their exhibition docket at home against Evansville tomorrow evening before they open the regular season, hosting Indiana next Friday night, the 23rd of August at 7 o'clock. Tickets available at slubillikens.com. And they will have a few other home non-conference games on the schedule, including not really a home game, but a neutral site here in St. Louis, the Bronze Boot, when the men and women of the Billikens play SIUE at City Park on Sunday, September 8th. Those tickets also available on slubillikens.com. And we are joined now by Kevin Kalish, head coach of the St. Louis men's team. Coach, thanks so much for being with us. Let's start with the big headline, which is Indiana, I think comfortably the most decorated college soccer program in the last few decades. Obviously, St. Louis has plenty of stars as well.
Yeah, when you said that, by the way, I had several people text me and say, well, "Look, watch it." Okay.
I'm being objective. I'm being fair.
I got you, Kevin Kalish.
Just recent decades, but they're coming to Herman Stadium, and maybe no stars on the line, but it should be quite a night.
Yeah, we're excited to host Indiana. Todd does an unbelievable job, obviously, with running his program, and they're traditionally a college soccer power, and we're excited to host, and it's going to be a fantastic night for college soccer.
You know, it was fun too, Kevin, to talk with you and your player. Was it last week? I think it was at City Park on a really hot day, previewing the Bronze Boot. I don't want to get too far ahead, but that's really just around the corner as well, where you guys face off with SIUE. You have some, revenge to do. They took the win. Kale Wasserman and his squad took the win last year, and definitely hungry for you guys and the win this year.
Yeah, we're excited for that we're very, thankful to be able to play that game at City Park again. It's an awesome night for college soccer and just for the St. Louis community in general. We're obviously, really, really excited to face the Cougars again in the Bronze Boot. It's got a ton of tradition, and I've coached on both sides throughout my career, and I'm just, we're very honored to take part in that game.
What do you think it's meant? I mean, obviously the Bronze Boot has so much history, it sort of speaks for itself, but it had been a while maybe since it had the local significance that it had, back when the game was drawing huge crowds, some of the biggest in college soccer history. What do you think it's done for the game as far as making it feel like a showcase again to have it at City Park?
Yeah, look, I think it's a showcase of St. Louis as a soccer community. I think, I mentioned this before, but I believe St. Louis is the best youth soccer in the country, the best high school soccer, the best college soccer. And I think even cities demonstrating that at the pro level. So I think it's just a recognition of the St. Louis soccer community as a whole. And that's another way to celebrate college soccer for the both men and the women.
And I have to believe too, Kevin, that is a motivating factor also for whether they're freshmen, whether they're, fifth year due to COVID or a redshirt player, to not only be able to look at the game on a TV, but to be able to drive by on Highway 40 and look practically into your stadium or onto the training grounds and say, that's our first team right there.
Yeah, it's just, City's been just a blessing for all of us soccer fans. We've been waiting for this for the last handful of decades, and it's just been as a season ticket holder, I know me and my family look forward to going to every home game, and it's just been an unbelievable event each and every week, and just I feel like they've done a great job with the organization and just gathering the entire soccer community to rally behind one club.
As far as this season for you guys on the field, what do you think is most important? What are you watching most closely over not just the game against Indiana, but or the Bronze Boot for that matter, but in general during these non-conference games before you get into A10 play in the later part of September to make you feel like this group is moving in the right direction and poised to make a run?
Yeah, every team's different, right? Every team, each and every year, you feel like you assemble a really good amount of talent, and this year we got some great leadership, we got some good experience, some good younger players. So it's just kind of bringing the group together as a team, and just kind of finding some role clarity within the group, and really just execution. So for us, it's we just take it one game at a time, and hopefully we're going to put ourselves in a good position come November. Obviously, we got a ton of great non-conference games on the schedule that's going to challenge us throughout the year. Some really difficult, obviously, home games and away games. We've played, I think, eight of the top 50 teams from last year, and so we feel like we'll have a really good opportunity to see where we're at and test ourselves and continue to improve each and every game.
How do you coach that, Kevin? Meaning when you're playing games that are really going to test your team, and maybe you have freshmen there that may or may not be appearing, but even sophomores and juniors and seniors where that the game may not result in your favor, but will grow you as a team. How do you coach them to that?
Look, I think we kind of just look internally, just really kind of, executing kind of our style, our identity, the way we want to play, the way we train each and every day, and just our culture and the way we want to represent St. Louis University. And I think, we kind of measure ourselves against those standards. And, I think from my perspective, I think we got a great group of guys with tremendous character. And I feel like, we're in a really good position to have a quality year.
Kevin, we appreciate your time so much, as always. Best of luck this season, and hopefully we'll be chatting again in November as you guys gear up for a great stretch run.
Thanks for having me. We'll see you guys soon.
That's St. Louis Billikens men's soccer coach Kevin Kalish joining us before his side finishes exhibition play tomorrow evening against Evansville and then opens up the 2024 regular season next Friday night, a week from tomorrow, August the 23rd, 7 o'clock. St. Louis against,
it's forced to have it.
St. Louis against Indiana. The Billikens and the Hoosiers, 18 national titles between the two of them, 10 more for St. Louis. I need to hammer this. I need to hammer this. 10 for St. Louis, 8 for Indiana. Now, obviously, there are time frames that we could, whatever. 18 national titles between the two of them.
Backpedaling. Everybody.
These are the two true blue bloods. We can settle on that at least. Two blue bloods of the of men's soccer throughout the country, and it's the entire college soccer history. And it's going to be really fun. I would imagine a very big crowd. And when we talk to Katie Shields on the women's side, they have a couple of really marquee home non-conference games coming up as well the week after that. I am super excited about the spotlights that's going to shine on them. I mean, we talk a lot about the spotlight City shine on St. Louis as the soccer community, but we don't need to forget about the Billikens.
No, and also there's something else that I think we have to think about too is to kids, right? To the kids. They look at a college player and they may know that, but to a lot of the kids, there's no difference in their mind. This is just somebody, this is just a big boy or a big girl soccer player, which is super cool for them and to see that. So it's just another avenue for them to dream, and they get to experience it at City Park. And for what, $10, I think, or $20 and then $10 for a group or something like that for both games. And by the way, show up for the women's game. Show up for the women's game. You will see good soccer. You'll see great soccer. Derek Burton's got his squad lined up. Katie Shields is not going to go down without a fight. Neither of them are, and they work so hard, and it's a great way to watch the game and support local talent, and even also see talent that are from outside St. Louis playing together and see the women's side, for myself personally, also build up a rivalry, which is always fun.
And to the degree that you're going to support or see the local game, this doesn't take away from the local players on the SLU and SIUE men's teams. Yeah. But women's soccer is a much more localized sport everywhere you go around the country. That the international recruiting is just not nearly as big a part of the game on the women's side as it is on the men's side. So you have much more localized rosters. So if that's what you're about, the women's game is in fact the better showcase for it in that sense, in terms of just the volume of local talent that will be on the field than the men's game is. And that's not just at SLU and SIUE. That's generally across the country.
100%.
That's just how it's going to be. That's September 8th, Sunday, September 8th, afternoon and into the evening. The women and then the men play at City Park in the Bronze Boot. The men hosting Indiana on next Friday evening, the 23rd. Tickets at slubillikens.com. The women then the following week will host BYU and Penn State, both of whom are in the top 5 in the preseason poll. Penn State, of course, knocked St. Louis out last year in the NCAA tournament, a hard-fought game in Happy Valley that the Billikens were oh so close to winning. And the St. Louis women, depending on the poll you look at, either number 12 or number 8 in the country in the preseason poll. So some heavyweight battles coming up in that week, though they have to find a way to beat UMKC tonight. That game is 0-0 with a half hour and change to go, suspended by rain. All of those tickets for the men and the women at slubillikens.com. And I got to say, last note on that before we get to break with Lori Chalupny coming up next, talking about the U.S. women's national team. If you've never been to Herman Stadium, or if you have been, but you haven't been for a big game when it's full or close to full, it is a really, really fun place.
It's great. I've taken teams there. I've taken kids' teams there. It's so much fun.
It is a blast. I've been to a couple of big men's games there. I've been to, and some not so big ones. And same thing on the women's side. Most recent game I think I was at there was the women against Indiana, actually, last year in the NCAA tournament when they beat the Hoosiers at Harmon Stadium. That game was a blast, although very cold. These will be warmer. It is really a ton of fun. So I think, big pitch for Bronze Boot at City Park. Big pitch as well for all the games at Herman Stadium, but especially those 3 huge non-conference matchups. Because also, if you go and you show up, it encourages those really big name programs to keep coming back and playing here.
That's right.
It makes it worth Indiana's time to come to St. Louis as the bigger school. Now, the less decorated, but the bigger school traveling to the smaller school. Same thing. BYU, maybe not such a big school, but power conference now. Penn State, the big school, traveling to the smaller school. It reinforces why they make those trips if a lot of people show up and appreciate them for being there and celebrate the game. We'll talk to Lori Chalupny after this about the U.S. women's national team and their gold medal at the Olympics in Paris. That's coming up on KMOX.
We go where you go. 11:20 a.m., 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, VH1, TLC, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. And with up to 3 streams at once, you'll never have to fight about what to watch. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows, and save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR, so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere, for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC Plus. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's philo.tv.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-9-MILLION.
How could they make things even better at Genesis of St. Charles? How about 0% financing through the end of August? That's right, 0% financing on fantastic, unbelievable Genesis vehicles, sedans, SUVs, several fully electric models as well. All you need to do is head to Genesis of St. Charles, walk into their beautiful state-of-the-art facility, and get behind the wheel of a Genesis and drive off today. A quarter-mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive off 70 or online at genesisofstcharles.com.
Jules on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. Jewels on Hampton.
It's Tom Ackerman. I've been talking about it for years because we've been enjoying it for years, and that is Innsbruck. Innsbruck Resort, Innsbruck-resort.com. What a place. And the home values have increased 105% in the last 5 years, so it's a great return on investment. The new Sonnenhaus houses are available this year. The modern exterior of a treehouse with cozy interior elements of a cottage. Innsbruck-resort.com.
We all have different ideas of the perfect retirement, but they all depend on the same thing, not running out of money. Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group can help you develop a retirement income stream that fits your idea of the perfect retirement. Call 636-230-8824 or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
This is Chad Clayman with ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com, where we buy property as is. If you have a property that is vacant, maybe it's been sitting empty for years, maybe it's been sitting empty for a month, well, we're interested in buying vacant properties. If you have a property sitting vacant, you're at risk of damage, you're paying insurance, you're paying taxes while it is not being utilized. We are interested in making you an as-is cash offer, and we can close on your timeline. Please reach out, KLAMEN Group.com.
The Y98 St. Louis City Soccer Report continues on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Lori Chalupny joins us now on the St. Louis City Soccer Report in the second hour. Nate Gatter, Jen Cease back with you. She is the head coach at Maryville University. She is a former U.S. women's national teamer, and she's here to talk
also
about
an
both.
Olympian.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
I mean,
all the things.
It's kind of, well, I guess it's not tough because they have so many players that sometimes people get to play for one thing or another thing. But I think if you're a U.S. women's national teamer the way that Lori was, you're an Olympian at some point or another. You're going to everything. Lori, we appreciate you.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
We appreciate you for being with us. Maybe I wasn't planning to start there, but let's start there with all the things that you've done in soccer as a player and as a coach. On the club side, playing, on the national team side, playing. Where did playing in the Olympics, being able to call yourself an Olympian, let alone an Olympic medalist, rank for you among sort of the most proud accomplishments of your career?
You know, it's such a tough question to answer because the soccer purist in me is like the World Cup is it. You know, that's the major tournament for soccer players. But being a part of the Olympics, I don't know. I think for me personally was the highlight of my career. It's just to be a part of something that's so much bigger than just yourself, I think, and to be with the other athletes and just be a part of it was pretty special.
And the gold medal's cool, no?
It's okay. Yeah, no, it's all right.
At risk of exposing this for potential crooks, you know what? Where do you
would
display
wear it
the
all
gold
the time.
medal?
I would
do you
wear
ever
it all
wear
the
it?
time.
Yeah.
If I was coaching, I'd be like, just do what I say. Look at this medal and do what I say.
What do you?
No,
where's the medal?
Yeah,
what do you use it for?
Yeah, anytime I go out, want to dress up, I have to put the gold on.
Like
it
putting the
matches
fancy
the
jewelry
outfit.
on. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sporting some
it's just
bling.
Hanging out at home. Yeah, just hanging out at home.
Have you ever considered if your Maryville players maybe weren't getting a point, or you were frustrated with the response you were getting, just wearing it into practice one day?
Yeah,
like, hey, you all listen to me.
do that. Just make sure I get the respect that I deserve.
Exactly
Yeah, that's right.
Well, of course, we're all fresh off. I was telling Nate, I had my youngest, who's 8, Harper. She was assigned by her coach to make sure that she watched the Brazil-US game. So, of course, we pulled it back up on TV, and, she's 8, so there's in and out paying attention. But it was kind of fun to watch her get to know that and then ask questions about, okay, like, what is this? And she didn't know what's the difference between the Olympics, what's the difference between the World Cup. who are these all the same players, and kind of explaining that to her. Your reactions coming out of the World Cup. Lori, I got to tell you, I was so excited not only for the U.S. women's national team, but Marta. I mean, I was so glad she got to play again, had her last game in that way. Of course, I don't want her to win, but happy to have her on there. And, she's played for 3 decades. You had to have crossed paths, with her, maybe?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We have battled quite a few times. In fact, in my Olympic final, we played Brazil as well back in 2008.
Oh, right.
And, that really at the height of her career. And I was, of course, being a defender, tasked with, following her around all game, which, good luck with that. But yeah, I mean, Marta is one of the greatest all time. So it was nice to see her, didn't want her to go out with a gold, but it was nice for her to go out with a medal and just to be able to compete in a championship, her final game.
Is it crazy to you thinking about that? I mean, the matchups that you guys had, obviously one that you remember less fondly in 2007 at the World Cup and then in 2008 at the Olympics. Is it crazy to you to think of where Marta was then, that she still has this stature and is still chugging along in 2024 at the international level?
I have no idea how she's still playing.
Okay, you just played in the TST and won. You just played too.
Yeah, on a bit of a different level, let me just say.
Fair.
No, she is a pretty special player, and I think has become such a leader for the next generation of players in Brazil, and just really became outspoken and has done so much for their program and just kind of the trajectory of their soccer program globally.
So let's talk about the trajectory of the American program, because it was in, I don't want to say the worst spot in my lifetime, but it was in the worst spot, certainly in the last decade.
He's younger than we are, Lori.
Right,
He's younger than we are.
At the end of the Vlatko reign, it was in the worst spot in the last decade in terms of the attitude that I think a lot of fans had toward the program, the frustration, the maybe even apprehension at how quickly all of a sudden the world seemed to be closing in. And Emma Hayes maybe was just the perfect person at the perfect time, because it seems like we've almost already forgotten the struggles that were just last year, because this felt like a return to business as usual. What do you think changed that worked so well for Emma Hayes that just wasn't working a year ago under Vlatko?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, right?
There is.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. I had a lot of the same feelings after the World Cup. It was just kind of like, oh man, are we ever going to get back to the top? Or are we just, has everybody caught us? But here we are 1 year later, and Emma's taken the reign and just really changed the look of the team completely. I mean, they really looked confident and aggressive, and it was it was just a completely different look. It was really fun to watch. And then here we are. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, we're back. The U.S. is back on top, where we look unstoppable. So, I don't know. Sometimes it is just a new coach, a new look, a new vibe. And just because we've always had the talent, right? It's mostly the same players. It was just, a different look that was needed.
Yeah. And if you speak about, Nate and I were talking about a little bit earlier, it's not like Brazil handed it to them. For the first 20, 25 minutes, just looking at that, they were dangerous, and we got the better side of VAR, thank goodness. Or it could have been we could have been a very different game.
Yeah, absolutely. They really did take it to us for the first half. Really, I felt like they had the run of the play, but even throughout this tournament, the team was a little bit inconsistent at times. We were beatable at times. But it's also a younger team with a lot less experience than what we've had in the past. So that's sort of what you would expect, right? The highs were high, and then there were also some lows, but they came out on top. So it's all good.
Was there anybody, it's easy to point to that front three of Mallory Swanson, who was a notable absence, to be fair, last year, and played a huge part, of course, this year, as she probably would have in the World Cup last year had she been healthy. Another year for Trinity Rodman, which at her age, every year counts for development, and Sophia Smith. The three of them got a lot of the headlines, and deservedly so, with the 10 goals they scored as a trio at the Olympics. Was there anybody outside of that front three who really stood out to you when you were watching, who you think maybe flew a little bit under the radar, but made a big impact?
Well, I think our back line was also phenomenal. Naomi Girma has gotten a lot of praise throughout the tournament. I mean, she was everywhere. But I also thought Crystal Dunn was phenomenal. She was adding to our attack, but was also, pretty much a brick wall on defense. So I think really it was a combination of both. I think we gave up one goal the whole tournament. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I mean, it was really a team effort from top to bottom.
And something else that's kind of epic, if we think of, soccer history, is North Carolina's coach Anson retiring from UNC kind of formally, and you being a player there. Just thought I would wanted to see what your reaction to that was. And have you talked to him at all? What do you think?
Yeah. I think I'm still processing. I just seeing in North Carolina without Anson, it just doesn't seem like that, that I would ever see that day. He's so connected to the program that it's tough to hear. I wasn't able to connect with him, but we did play phone tag a little bit, and it was nice just to be able to share my thoughts with him and everything that he's done for me as a player and as a person. And he is a phenomenal coach. And I think, I've learned so much being a coach now from my time at UNC and learning from Anson. So it's tough to see him retire, but like I told him, I hope that means more time with family and grandkids. And life is good.
And one of those, and a shout out to Ted Williams, because he reminded me of that. He's listening right now. I know you spent time talking on the STL United show with Ted and Tom Schwartz, and just how epically cool that was, that Anson was really into coaching the women's side of the game before it was cool to do so, right? Before everybody was thinking it was cool, he thought it was cool a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, he was a pioneer for the sport, both at UNC, but also with the U.S. national team. He did so much to progress the game and our U.S. national team and the collegiate realm. I mean, just everywhere Anson kind of has his leaves a legacy.
You mentioned the influence on you as a player and now as a coach. It made me think of, how when kids grow up and then, maybe they think their mom and dad are wrong about everything. And then later on, maybe they're begrudgingly saying, maybe you guys were right about some stuff. I find myself saying things that you said, and people say, whatever. Do you find yourself ever, or did you, especially when you were just starting out in coaching, saying things in practice that made you go, oh my gosh, I sound just like him?
Oh yeah, but in a good way, because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to borrow that from Anson.
You can't go wrong, right? I mean, that's a safe place to go.
That came directly from Anson. I'm not ashamed to say that. But yeah, all the time. It's either a practice session or something I say, or just an overall idea about our culture, or the book clubs and things like that. There's so much stuff that I have stolen from him, and hopefully can just put that into a part of what we do.
And then looking forward, of course, Maryville University, you're busy. You've got your kids of your own. You've got, young adults that you're coaching. Season looks like it opens on September 7th. What is it looking like for the season? Excited? What's happening? What's new?
Yes, we are so excited. We start preseason next week. Have a lot of new faces coming in, but also a lot of returners. Coming off of a couple of really great years. We've been to the NCAA tournament twice in a row now, and hoping to make it a little further this year. You know how coaches are never satisfied. We're like, really excited to get the season started. You know how it is, a new season. It's just exciting. You just can't wait to get going. So I'm feeling that right now, and hope for another successful year.
Lori, thank you so much for being with us tonight, and best of luck this year.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Lori.
Lori Chalupny, former U.S. women's national teamer, where she was an Olympian.
There you go.
And head coach at Maryville University.
And she just used a hashtag all the things.
Yes.
She did all
World
the
Cup
soccer
champion,
things, all the
gold
things.
medalist.
She should get the
St. Louis
hashtag.
and all the important things to have under your name. We will continue the show after this, talking a little bit about the U.S. men's national team. Mauricio Pochettino reportedly set to become the new head coach after Greg Berhalter was relieved of his duties following the Copa America exit at the group stage. That's coming up next on KMOX.
Here's something on the Dave Glover Show you want to talk about?
I am currently listening to the Dave Glover Show on his topic about nursing homes. No matter how nice a nursing home looks on the outside, if you don't put people in there that care, or if you don't start paying people enough, it doesn't matter what it looks like on the outside.
Got something to say?
Because the inside is still going to be terrible.
Use the Odyssey app, click the microphone, and leave your voice recording for the Dave Glover Show. Weekdays beginning at 1 on KMOX.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
When it comes to retirement, you don't need to worry or sweat the small stuff if you have Sachs Financial on your side. Sachs Financial, home of the Retirement Compensation Plan. SACHS, Sachs Financial, because income is the outcome that matters. RetireSafeSTL.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Be Honest bespoke skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painter's business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
After suffering an injury, you may face many hard questions. What will tomorrow bring? Which firm should I choose to represent me and my family? At Morgan & Morgan, we will hold your hand every step of the way. From our one-click sign-up, mobile apps, and 24/7 availability, we make it easy to get your case started right from the comfort of your couch. All firms are not the same. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Life can throw curveballs our way, just like the sudden car accident that put me in a coma 30 years ago, long before I became the Cardinal Cowboy. And just like recovering from bumps in the road, we all need reliable help when things go wrong. At Renner Garage, they understand unexpected setbacks. Whether it's a repair, a new door, or a LiftMaster opener, Renner has the team of trusted experts who know how to lift you up and get you back on track. You know the name, RENNER, forward and back, RennerDoorSTL.com. Giddy up.
Broadcasting from the Underline Three Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
We continue on the St. Louis City Soccer Report into the final half hour of this Thursday evening. And we are talking Maurizio Pochettino, reportedly set to become the new head coach.
I'm glad you pronounced that because I was really scared too.
of the U.S. men's national team, former head coach of a number of club teams in Europe, Espanyol, Southampton, Tottenham, PSG, Chelsea, the last three stops for which he is best known, especially his spell at Tottenham from 2014 to 2019. Honestly, you know who we need to talk about, or who we need to talk to in the future when we're talking about Pochettino is Daniel Esteve, who has filled in for me a few times with you.
Yeah.
He's over at Fox 2 and fills in on these airwaves from time to time. He is a big Tottenham fan, so he knows Mauricio Pochettino well.
Okay.
But Pochettino making reportedly, again, this is unconfirmed at this point, but I feel confident that enough reports are out there that it's got to be coming to fruition at this point. Will become the new head coach of the U.S. men's national team. It will be his first foray into international management, and I think by some distance, the biggest name head coach the U.S. men have ever had. But who would know better on that? Mr. Soccer Bill McDermott, who is with us now.
Thanks to a rain delay.
He's doing two jobs at once because the SLU women are in a lightning delay, 0-0, almost an hour played over at Herman Stadium against Kansas City in their opener. So he is pulling double duty. Bill, thank you so much for doing that.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's start with, do you feel that I am correct in saying that he is comfortably the biggest name coach? And how do you feel about that hire, that type of hire at this moment for the U.S.?
Yeah, you're probably right with relation to the pedigree of his name being involved in the international game and the clubs he's coached. In particular, I think where he got the best results was with Tottenham Hotspur, and that's where I think he got the most visibility. But name recognition-wise, don't forget Jurgen Klinsmann. Klinsmann at the time. Now, he did not have by any means the coaching legacy that Pochettino does, but certainly as a player, he was well known around the world.
That's a good point.
There was this outside stipulation that this may be taking place as long as about 3 or 4 weeks ago. But then they were also looking at some other candidates, some other international candidates, as well as some MLS candidates. I'd love to give you those names, but I'm not at liberty to do so. But nonetheless, this is a good result for them. It gives them someone with immediate stature in the game so that when they're going forward, still in essence, in some ways trying to make their way, this is a good result. Now, let's make one thing abundantly clear. Irrespective of who you hire, the United States men's national team is not going to turn into the 70 Brazilians just because of somebody you hired. So you're going to have to be patient with this and see what happens, because everything, and I do mean everything, is geared to the 2026 World Cup. Greg Berhalter had said that all along when he was coaching, that they wanted the national team, they wanted to change soccer forever in the United States by doing something in the World Cup in 2026. Now, does that mean they're going to be as good as the 2002 World Cup team, that quarterfinal team, which was absolutely a tremendous United States team? All we can do is wait and see. But as I think I said on the show before, the team that you have seen in the various first 11s or the various exhibition games and Copa America, that's pretty much going to be the mainstay going into the overall competition for 2026.
It's a good point that you make. Everybody's been consistent about all of this. Is even the Copa America, as disappointing as it was, the performance, if it somehow turns into a better performance at the World Cup in 2026, that's a trade everyone would be happy to make. Everything has been geared toward this World Cup on home soil. So my question for you is, especially because it's not really that much a question of who are the names going to be. We pretty much know what the roster is going to look like. Is with how little time men's coaches get on the international side to work with teams. On the women's side, there are a few more international games. There's a little more time together. On the men's side, there's just not that much. Is 2 years or a little less than 2 years now enough time for Pochettino to really mold this roster and have it to whatever degree possible the way he wants it by the World Cup in 26?
I think so, Nate, because of the groundwork that's been laid down right in front of him. There's certainly a good start. Now, you make a very, very good point. You do not get a great deal of time with your international/national team. Probably the most time you get is immediately prior to the World Cup beginning. So they'll be well into the process. Probably will have named their selection already. But I think this is plenty of time for a coach of his caliber to be able to see what he has use these players to the best of their abilities to somehow change the game as it's looked at in the United States, because you are gauged as an international soccer power. You're gauged as an international soccer entity by what you do in the World Cup. It's as simple as that.
You know, Bill, he's also
Jen.
he's coming in with such a pedigree as a coach, right? He's also
Mhm.
coming in to a system with U.S. soccer system, which is much different than the rest of the world systems when it comes up how you
Mhm.
play. I can tell you by the bills I play for my pay for my children to play in club soccer here in St. Louis and all over the country, where the players are just a little bit different. Of course, we're a country of many sports, not just maybe one sport. Is a coach of course his stature, is he able to? It seemed like when Emma Hayes came into the U.S. women's national team, she came in, these are already technical and tactical players that are really well versed in the game. She made some hard decisions on the roster, and then she made a style. She really went into the Olympics saying, I want you to struggle. This is supposed to be hard. She went in with kind of messaging that was more than just what was on the pitch. Is that what we're going to see for the U.S. men's national team? Or are we going to see more a style of play change?
I don't think you'll see a dramatic difference in the style, Jen. But what Pochettino has to realize is that he is taking over the job as the coach of the United States national team. This is an immense culture change for him.
Yeah.
Whereas other places around the world, it is so deeply ingrained in that country's respective culture. The people in Brazil, case in point, just mentioning Brazil, and I mention them, well, obviously because they have 5 stars on their shirt, but the people literally live through their national teams. There are people in the United States who are recognizing the fact that the United States team is dramatically improving, but also likewise, so is the rest of the world. And you have to admit that they had a little bit of a head start. You got a little bit of a dose of it, Jen, when the United States came up against Morocco in the Olympics.
Yeah.
You look at their respective players, and all you got to do is look at Ashraf Hakimi, the captain, their overage player at 25. There was nobody on the field remotely close to his abilities.
Bill, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us,
sure.
especially during a lightning delay at the Billikens women's game. We're going to talk to Katie Shields hopefully in the next show or coming up.
Yes,
yeah, we're going to have
confirmed.
her on Monday in our next show Monday night. We
good,
talked to
great,
Kevin
because,
Kalish earlier this evening. Obviously a team in UMKC that the SLU women beat 8-0 last year, and this year 0-0, almost an hour played. Hopefully they're able to finish the game tonight despite the lightning that has been in the area. How concerned are you with the first hour of the Billiken women's season?
Well, they certainly had certain chances early in this game. And Katie made some changes, dramatic changes, overall changes as he went to the first half, and the second half was the first 11 again, but she was beginning to make changes. But now everything's thrown off kilter. But as Dan Betlock mentioned to me, my broadcast partner on ESPN Plus, this is a dramatically different UMKC team, the Kansas City Roos, as they're now known. But, and next week, the 22nd, St. Louis was playing BYU, and BYU was a fabulous team last year. But just to give you the idea of what college soccer is, BYU goes from being in the Final Four last year to losing 12 players. So the team that comes in here next week, still nationally ranked, but you'll see a dramatically different team.
That is tough. I mean, I've only coached on the youth circuit, and of course, when you do with clubs, you change out a few players here and there. But to coach like high school, to coach college, where you could be solid because you don't lose that many, or you could just lose a ton in that, especially those upper classes, has got to be a tough job.
And that's literally what happened, Jen, with BYU. Because remember, I don't know if you recall last year in the quarterfinal, when they came from behind against UNC and ended up winning, they scored 4 unanswered goals. They were in top form. And Brecken Mozingo, one of the players who graduated, she was one of the finalists for the Herman last year. So they played some excellent soccer. Now, St. Louis U played them in Provo, Utah, in their very first game last year, only losing by a score of 3-2. And what Katie is doing with this team, still early in this competition of this current season, is still moving some players around. I think she has a pretty good notion of what she wants to be a solid first 11, but she was still experimenting a little bit tonight.
Bill, we appreciate you as always. Thanks a lot for your
Sure,
time.
guys. My pleasure. Anytime. Bye now.
Mr. Soccer Bill McDermott with us from Herman Stadium. To his point, by the way, those third-ranked BYU Cougars, top 5 team in the country, lost 2-0 to Utah Valley and 1-0 to Wyoming in their 2 exhibition games. So they are up 1-0 on 19th-ranked Wisconsin tonight in their opener. BYU and Penn State will be coming to Herman Stadium to play the SLU women in the next couple of weeks. We'll wrap up next on KMOX.
Are you tired of those unwanted, stubborn areas of fat? Do you want to lose up to 2 inches of that fat quickly and safely? Hi, this is Dr. Michael Glickert at St. Louis Weight Loss Secret, and we offer the latest breakthrough treatment in fat reduction without surgery through our incredible Lumara body contouring program that gently melts fat naturally, eliminating it from your body. If you want to lose inches on your thighs, arms, waist, stomach, or back, take advantage of our limited time offer of just $69 for your first treatment, which is valued at $300. You heard that right, just $69 for your first treatment. Visit us online at moweightloss.com.
Hey, this is Debbie Monterey, and I admit I was skeptical about body contouring at St. Louis Weight Loss Secret, but I figured, what do I have to lose except apparently inches, because they already helped me lose 40 pounds, and then they took before and after pictures while I was doing body contouring. I did 8 treatments, and you could totally see the difference. So take advantage of this limited time offer, just $69 for your first body contouring treatment, regularly $300, by calling 314-207-8600 or online at moweightloss.com.
You cheer for your favorite team. Wear the colors proudly and show everyone why we have the best fans in baseball. Now, KMOX and Rawlings are celebrating you, the loyal fan. You could win tickets to an upcoming game and $100 from Rawlings. Get entered now at KMOX.com/contest. Just upload a photo of you decked out in your game day attire.
I'm the best fan.
I'm the best fan.
The best fans in baseball. Presented by KMOX and Rawlings. The mark of a pro.
Solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
It's the story of 2 high school friends who both were interested in real estate and built some multi-million-dollar real estate businesses. How did they do it? Well, we'll find out on the next Business of Family Business. I'm Debbie Monterey. My co-host is Kevin Short of Clayton Capital Partners, and we'll be talking to Jim Manning and Ryan Wessels of 3 Doors. Everything you need to know about diversifying into real estate. Saturday at 2 on KMOX. It's the Business of Family Business. How would you like to upgrade your windows and doors with just one phone call? This is Debbie Monterey, and if you call Renewal by Andersen, you can meet with them on a date and time that you choose. They don't waste your time having you sit around all day long waiting for them to show up. You can trust that they will be there when they say they'll be there. Plus, Renewal by Andersen will be your only point of contact through the entire project, so you won't have to deal with separate manufacturers or installers. And there were Acclaim windows. Go ahead and compare them to vinyl. You will be amazed at the difference. They are durable, low maintenance, and beautiful. And right now, during Renewal by Andersen's big 1-month only sale, take $329 off every window and $729 off every patio door with 0% interest for 36 months. Call 314-720-9200. 314-720-9200. That's Renewal by Andersen. 314-720-9200.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Don't miss out on the following concerts. Blues Traveler, St. Louis Music Park, September 20th. Celebration Day, St. Louis Music Park, September 27th. Billy Joel and Sting. Busch Stadium, September 27th. Seether and Skillet, St. Louis Music Park, October 3rd.
For tickets and info, hit up livenation.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-790-1400. 800-790-1400.
Supporting your nutrition should be easy.
That's why we created the Neovitin Women's Multivitamin Monthly Subscription. Get your daily Neovitin Women's Multivitamin delivered directly to your door every month. You can pause or cancel your subscription at any time with no long-term obligations. With B vitamins to support energy, vitamin D for bone support, and our physician-formulated proprietary blend, Neovitin Women's Multivitamin is here to support your nutrition every day. Start supporting your nutrition and sign up for a monthly Neovitin Women's Multivitamin subscription today at neovitin.com.
We can get more sleep, we can get more sun, and we can get more exercise. But the one thing that we can't get more of is time. It's time to eliminate the one phrase that could be holding you back from reaching your retirement goals. I'll take care of it tomorrow. It's time to pick up the phone and make the call to Gary Goldberg and the team at Financial and Tax Strategies. 618-361-4232 or online at checkwithgary.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Centaurus Financial Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Gary Goldberg, NPN number 918615.
The Y98 St. Louis City Soccer Report continues on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Wrapping up the St. Louis City Soccer Report. Don't forget, it's probably the shortest turnaround in show history until our next show. It's coming your way on Monday evening. Have we ever had two shows with only
Not
3
this
days
close.
in between?
No,
I don't
not
think so.
this close.
So 8 to 10 next Monday evening, the 19th. We will be with you.
But I already got Dale booked. I already got George booked and Katie Shields. Boom.
Yep.
All right, halfway
Katie
there.
Shields, the head coach of the St. Louis women's soccer team, will be with us along with our usual St. Louis City guests. Talking soccer next Monday night right here on KMOX. We want to say thank you to Dale Schilly and George Gansner joining us in the first hour. Also to St. Louis men's coach Kevin Kalish, Lori Chalupny, the head coach of the Maryville University women and a former U.S. women's national teamer and Olympic gold medalist, and Bill McDermott, Mr. Soccer, who are all with us in the second hour. We covered a lot of ground. St. Louis City, the St. Louis men's and women's teams, the U.S. men's and women's teams. If you missed any of it, you can always go back and hear it on the free Odyssey app. You can get every interview, and you can also listen to the Cardinals and City streaming live. For Jen Cease, Ethan Hannaford, Nate Ganner saying good night. Back with you next Monday, the St. Louis City Soccer Report on KMOX.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now,